On the Wado Radio Show.
Yes, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado Radio Show. It's more than music. It is ministry, man. And I don't think this guy who's with me on the line really needs any introduction because you hear him on the show every week. And he's been just as much as part of this show as I have been over these years, man. I have Sketch the journalist with us, man. Sketch, what's up?
Howdy. Yeah, it's been a long while, and I actually get a little intro in our intro theme song. So. That's always been a pleasure. So, nice little highlight from my bio.
Well, one of the funniest things that I always remember about you is that time that the Truth thought you were a character that I had made up.
I know. I had that as a note for us to even talk about tonight because I remember you saying that. So I guess there are some shows that do have characters like that sort of thing, but it just never occurred to me that somebody would think that you and I were pulling that off somehow on this show.
Yeah, but hadn't he met you at that before that?
Yeah, we met a couple times in Houston, but I guess he just didn't make the connection to the Wado Radio Show.
Oh my God, that's so funny, man. That is so funny. For those, so just a little background, Sketch, and even now, like he has his avatar for a really long time has been like I guess a drawing. Like, who did that drawing for you, by the way?
I did. So that's part of where the name Sketch comes from. I've always done cartoons and illustrations and stuff. So I took that from a photograph of me meeting Cross Movement years ago when they were in town. So I've got a photo that looks just like that. But yeah, I just drew it and made it my avatar for all my social media and stuff.
Bro, you need to put the comparison up on Instagram, bro.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You definitely need to do that, man. I didn't know that. That's crazy. So that makes it even worse. The fact that it was a picture of you and Cross Movement.
I think Truth was even at that concert. It was like because he just had the mp3.com joint, and Flame I think was at that show too.
Oh, this is like early Cross Movement. This is
wow. early on. So
that EP he had, what was it called?
Foreplay or
I have know. It, man.
That was a song.
Yeah.
But, I don't think he'd even released a full album yet or anything. And the guys in Cross Movement are wearing like the triple XL throwback Mitchell and S.
They used to be on that hard. They used to be on that so hard. Them jerseys,
Sixers jerseys, yeah. So,
oh my God, man. Well, listen, man. On one hand, this is I wanted to have Sketch on so we could celebrate just him, man, just what he's meant to not just this show and the whole Wado Radio ministry, but just Christian rap in general. But he's in a space in his life where he is, and I'll let him explain it even a little bit more, I guess, but he is, he's kind of taking a break from some things right now. And not anything bad, but you know, these things just kind of happen, man. And so I wanted to have him on, man. Hopefully this won't be the last time, but I wanted to have him on and just kind of, one, man, just tell you how much I've really appreciated you all these years. And I've told you this in private several times, but I don't know if I've really said it enough publicly. Just what you've meant to me as a friend, but also, man, just how you've blessed so many people with your gifts and talents in terms of covering Christian rap and really keeping people informed on what's going on and just being unbiased about so many things. And, man, just being a great guy, man. You know what I mean? It's you're a great dude, bro. So, man, thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah. I was trying to think how long we've actually been together doing the show. It was pretty early on. I don't remember what episode or anything, but I think you found me or I found you. I know one of the first things that I remember hearing is that you got to interview Bushwick Bill before I did. And, being a big time Houston homer, I kind of took a little slight personal offense to that. How did he get Bushwick before I did? So you interviewed him, you had him on the show, and that certainly piqued my interest. And you invited me to do some new segments on the show, and I saw it as a good opportunity to reach a new audience. I was doing some of my own writing before and had done stuff beforehand, but to never really done radio like that. So to get to do some new segments and have some fun with some fake advertisers back in the day when my segments went a little bit long. We put in some just funny things stuff like that. And then just getting to write for the site
Yeah.
has really helped expand. I go places now and people know me exclusively from Waito Radio. So
Wow.
your platform has benefited me as well. So I think it's been a good pairing. But yeah, this time in my life, I turned 40 years old last year. Things are just kind of changing. I want to devote more time to my family, and it just felt like a time I needed to take a little break. So I appreciate you allowing me to do that, and just the time that I've been able to have and speak to your audience and use your platform, that we could both kind of partner together and tell people more about the music that we love, that celebrates the God that we love and that saved us, and just be a part of that.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny, man, is like we did this for so many years and we had never even met in person.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, you were definitely a part of this before we got on like the radio for real. It was just a podcast for a long time. And we got on the radio officially in like 2008. We were on some stations in this New York area, and you were definitely with us before that. I probably should have went back and just skimmed through some of those old podcasts, 'cause I got them all. And
that's the reason I could do long segments with fake advertisers, because we weren't on the real radio.
Right.
Didn't have to be so rigid in our format. So.
Oh my God, so funny, man. Those fake advertisements. Totally forgot about those, bro.
Yeah.
But you had some good ones, man. People got a chance to really see your wit with that stuff too. You know?
Yeah,
man.
Thanks.
So let me ask you this, bro. What has been your like, if you just had one interview that you've done through the years that you would point people to and say, man, that was my joint, that you've done, because you've interviewed. I mean, you've interviewed a lot. I mean, people always say I've interviewed a lot of people. You've interviewed just as many. You know what I mean? If not more, to be honest.
Yeah. I've been fortunate living in Houston. It seems like we have a lot of national acts come through here, and our city has a lot of artists here. But yeah, anytime somebody new came through, I definitely try to hit them up and get their story about their introduction to Christian hip hop. That was something, just a unique kind of series that I was, I think, able to do and feature really prominently on the site. Every month or two, we tried to have several of those interviews. I guess one of those that was my favorite was Christian Gray. Talked to him at South by Southwest in 2014, and I don't think I knew beforehand like his appreciation for like the Tunnel Rat era and those guys that really kind of raised him. But just as we were talking, I knew he did the song Nostalgia and had Journey Big featured on it, but just that interview was kind of cool to hear just the influence of them on their lives. And I guess another one that's a little left field is a story I wrote for the Houston Chronicle. I interviewed a Christian folk singer named Derek Webb.
Oh, I remember that.
And
that was kind of a big deal though, like the aftermath.
Yes. So I approached him because I had seen him following and talking to some Christian rappers, and he was talking about his appreciation for Kanye. So, and he's from Houston, so I thought, well, this is a unique angle, a folk singer who appreciates hip hop and even Christian hip hop. So I hit him up when he came through Houston one time to do that, and I also asked, like, just at the end of the interview, it was kind of a throwaway question. I didn't expect a lot to come from it, but I asked him about being banned on Twitter by Questlove. Like I'd followed both of them at the time, and he at one time had tweeted Questlove or said something about how Questlove would blow up his Twitter, and he decided he didn't like that or something, and Questlove like banned him. And then Derek Webb just kind of made it a joke and like, hey, unblock me, Questlove. And I put that at the tail of my story, and that turned out to be kind of like snowballed from there. Like Derek Webb made a song called Unblock Me. He told me about having a dream to go on the Jimmy Fallon show and perform it, and to have Questlove like unblock him on the air. And so the story went in the newspaper. So in the print edition of the Chronicle, I tweeted him, and I tagged Questlove, and Questlove retweeted it. And it just got a whole lot of attention from this really weird angle I came at it, talking about hip hop and faith and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of my more memorable stories, I guess, from my career. So
Is he still blocked by Questlove?
I think he is.
Wow.
So even after doing a whole video and song that's like a hip hop version of "Please Don't Block Me," it's funny. So
that's petty. That's petty, right there.
I know.
That's petty, bro.
Yeah. Quest don't play, I guess.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, I always thought that was interesting because Quest was so early into the whole social media thing because of OK Player. Like,
yeah,
he I think his vision, because I still post on OK Player from time to time, but that message board was like, his whole vision for it was like a way for artists to connect directly with the fans. And I was like, man, like this dude could have invented Twitter. The vision wasn't big enough, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he could have invented Twitter, man. Yo, how'd you get into Christian rap? Because I know for a really long time, your bio was always like, you know, since Stephen Wiley, you've been listening to Christian rap. So like, what this should be the capstone for your video series right here, bro.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So growing up, I had friends that were always into hip hop. I was listening to Run DMC and Slick Rick and Fat Boys and that sort of thing. But was also always kind of raised in church. And I just remember being in a Christian bookstore one time. My mom, she went to church heavily. My dad, not so much at the time. And I was 10 or 12, and she saw a cassette on the shelf that said Christian rap. That was like the name on the front. It was Stephen Wiley's Bible Break single. And she bought it for me and thought that I might enjoy it because I liked rap. So it just kind of was a marriage of my faith life and my love of hip hop. And so it fit in. I at the time, I think I probably even knew some of the flow was still kind of dated, but it was, you know, my first time experiencing that. And then that was when I was in Memphis. And I remembered kind of the next big jump was when I moved to Texas in Houston. And I went to a Christian bookstore and found SFC's Phase 3. And back then, nobody's going to believe this in the streaming digital age, but you had to really seek out this music. And so I was young enough, I couldn't drive, had to get mom to take me to a Christian bookstore, hope that there was a couple cassettes on the shelf that might interest me. They were shrink wrapped. They might have a demo that I could listen to. And I bought SFC's Phase 3 literally off the cover because it had like a fisheye lens photo of the group. And I thought, you know, that's pretty cool. Like, it looks like legit of what else is out there. And then I was just a nerd. After I bought it, I would read liner notes and say, okay, SFC, they shouted out Dynamic Twins. And next time I was in the store, I'd look for Dynamic Twins or Gospel Gangsters or that sort of thing. So that's really just how I got into it. And then I occasionally tried, but realized I didn't have talent and skills in rapping or making beats. But I could write, and that was my interest in junior high and high school. I was in newspaper class. In college, I was a journalism major. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I could write and I could get free music if I start reviewing some of this stuff, and I could meet some of the artists. And one of I got into the Great Tree era. They were putting out their own magazine called Heaven's Hip Hop Magazine, and I subscribed to it. They did a issue one time of Unsigned Hype, and they put physical addresses of people, and I wrote everybody in there a letter and just said, hey, I heard about you. I'd like to buy some of your music. New Wine was one of those dudes before he dropped his first album. I put my phone number in the letter, I think, and he called me personally and like, hey, me and this dude, Little Rascal, are doing a concert out by the Astrodome. If you want to come out next month, you know, check it out. So I actually, that was my first like Christian rap concert to go to. And I didn't know anybody, but I went with a couple people from my church youth group and got into it, and then just continued to write and try to make connections. So my buddy Slaves was a writer for that Heaven's Hip Hop Magazine, and in Houston he started a newsletter called One Mind Magazine, and I wrote to him and said, hey dude, I'm a journalism major, I like this music, maybe I can write for you. And that really kind of started my career in Christian rap, I guess. So that's a long-winded story.
And Slave was also the guy that, it's crazy because it's like some of the younger cats don't even know this website, but they had their run like particularly when Z came aboard with Trey 9, their run for those few years was massive. But he
Yeah.
was the guy that kind of started the South back in the day, right?
Correct. Yeah. OM95 was the website for the One Mind magazine. And then he had just a heart to like help push dudes in our city. And so the South really started as kind of a central hub that he wanted everybody, instead of having their individual websites, to just push the South.
Yeah.
So Trey 9 gave up Trey9.com and said his website, told his fans, my website is thesouth.com. And Cy, the ringleader, said, my website is thesouth.com. And Soldiers on a Mission said, my website is thesouth.com. So any of the concerts that they did, those fan bases would hear and come and like, oh my gosh, there's 10 other acts here that like it. So that had a heavy message board that built a community, and then it became a big website around kind of a forebearer of Rapzilla and Sphere of Hip Hop. They were all kind of started around that same time, but heavy news and heavy message board community before social media really blasted off, that made connections between
and Holy
artists
Culture.
and
Can't
fans.
forget Holy Culture.
Oh, yeah, Holy Culture was really huge.
Yeah.
And I think I've written pieces for all those other websites. So I had a real heart for the South because my friends started it, but I've tried to write for any and everybody that would post me. So I had pieces at Rapzilla and Sphere of Hip Hop and Holy Culture and Relevant Magazine and Soul Magazine, wherever. But my main homes, I guess, the last couple of years have been Widow Radio and my Houston Chronicle gig, and the South back in the day.
Man, you should write a book, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's actually another part of like, hey, maybe I need to take some time off as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Things kind of settle down. I need to put some of this history into print form.
Yep.
And I'd love to kind of have that in my legacy, that I was able to at least print a book. There's been a lot of artists that have done it. Like, man, I can do that too. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing it.
Yeah, I feel like, man, you have. I say a couple things, man. And I'm not saying this to diss anybody listening, but I'm just saying it because it's facts. Like what you've done on this radio show, like every other Christian rap radio show tries to replicate in some way. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying it as a diss. I'm saying it as a, like, you've been that proficient in what you do, and it's like everybody that I've ever met that covers this genre from a journalism standpoint, like, they always have the utmost respect for you because you have this, like, you have this ability to be totally unbiased, except for when it comes to Houston artists. Like,
Right.
You're very biased when it comes to Houston artists.
I don't hide that.
But with all the national acts, with the Reach Records, the Lamp Modes, the Cross Movements back in the day, the Collisions, you always covered these people fairly and unbiased, and you know what I mean. I just think there's something to be said for that, bro.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's certainly something I tried to strive for, and one thing that really drew my appeal to what my buddy Slave was writing back in the day. He was writing fair critiques of Christian rap, and at the time there wasn't the exposure and ability to try all that out. So I really appreciated him from just a consumer standpoint of telling me this record is not as worth it as much as this other one. And if you only got $15 to buy a CD, put it towards this one. So I try to just carry that out and be fair. Sometimes it makes for difficult conversations with those artists who
tell me about it.
may catch some feelings, but I hope that they see that we're just I'm not trying to kill anybody's career, but I think we can be honest in talking about art. I'm not talking about people's faith walk with Christ or anything like that. I'm talking about the art that they've put out for public consumption. And that's kind of the way that I've approached it. But I appreciate the compliments, and I'm glad to hear that that's kind of what I strive for, was kind of that balance.
Yeah, I mean, how do you? You've seen. When you're talking about going back to Stephen Wiley, SFC, Gospel Gangsters, all these people. You've seen all these different waves and shifts, and everything in the game, man. Like, how do you feel about it right now? Because it's crazy, man. I don't know of anybody that goes to more shows than you go to.
Yeah.
Even in this space, like, bro, like, you're
Yeah.
40 years old and you clearly still love this.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I guess it helps that I don't have kids. So
Yeah. Well, but here's
Yeah.
the flip side though. If you had kids, depending on how old your kids are, that becomes another thing because you'll want to take them to some of these concerts.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, the passion's still there. I like seeing new acts and trying to just meet and like welcome anybody that hasn't been to Houston before, to kind of give them some exposure but yeah, it's been interesting to see kind of obviously the shift in the last couple of years. The people who were kind of leading the movement have now adopted a different philosophy as to how they present their music, and I know that back in the day, there were people staunchly kind of on both sides.
Yep.
And now they see like, hey, those guys are kind of getting applause for some of the things that we used to be critiqued about, or where's the real solid foundation that I used to love? Some people feel like that's missing these days.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been interesting to see that shift from people at the highest levels. And obviously we're kind of talking about Lecrae and Records.
Yep.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, but obviously they've changed somewhat, and some people feel really positively about that, and some people feel kind of negatively about that because they have such an investment. Or it was, I think too, I was talking to Michaela about this the other day. I think people become really attached to whoever they really first caught their ear when they came to Christian hip hop, somebody that really spoke to their lives, that really said, "Hey, this is music I can listen to," and they have a super fondness for that artist. And sometimes when they change or go through transitions of that kind of thing, it can feel hurtful. Or you take it almost more personally than you should, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's everybody kind of, and that was kind of the spark of my video series. Like, who was the person that really caught your ear and said, "That's something I can listen to"?
Yeah.
And I think we all have maybe a little extra grace for those people, or just a little more investment into their music and their careers and what they do and don't do within the scene than other people.
Yeah, I think, man, and I want your opinion on this. I don't think I've ever said this on the show. I think I've said this to people privately, but I don't think I've said this on the show yet. I really don't have a problem with people making whatever kind of music they want. Some people may find that hard to believe, but I really don't. But one of the things that has concerned me as I've gotten a little older and I've really started to step back and saw the impact that music that was made 10, 15, even 20 years ago had on people and on the culture and on Christian culture, is I feel like one of the things that you can point directly back to Cross Movement and dudes that was doing what they were doing is there's a bunch of people now who are in their late 30s and early 40s who have planted churches. And you can tie all of that directly back to Cross Movement, a lot of that foundational stuff. Or they're doing inner city ministry of some kind, discipling kids, working with young people in some regards, and really having like direct impact on their community. So there was like almost an intentional mobilization and encouragement for people to not waste their lives, for lack of a better term, right? To not waste their lives, to not just go to church or be a Christian, but to actually go back and like do something, right? And I mean, look, Epiphany Fellowship, Blueprint Church, the church Andy Mineo goes to in New York. I mean, I can name a bunch.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a list, but there's a ton of churches, like the Gate Church in St. Louis that Jason and his brother. Like his brother's one of the pastors there. I think he's the senior pastor there. Like you can directly trace these churches back. And there's others that I may not even be aware of, guys, because I meet them at Legacy Conference. They like, yeah, So my thing is, like in 10 years from now, what's going to be the legacy that comes out of what we're currently doing right now? Like what
Yeah.
are we
you-
inspiring, encouraging people to do? Like what is that going to look like? That's what I don't, you know what I mean? And it may be great and maybe I just don't see it, but I'm just like, what is that going to be? That's my concern.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably won't see as many pastors. You may see more
Definitely not.
more Christians in entertainment fields, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but they are
Sure.
certainly different. So I guess that would be my guess. Seeing this latest crop that's kind of coming up is we'll probably see more outspoken Christians in mainstream hip hop culture, which is good and something we certainly want to applaud. But it is different than church planners and people that were heavy theological and that sort of thing. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope they're outspoken because
Yeah.
some people would say we're in culture now, but we're not really outspoken. We're blending in
Yeah.
with culture,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in some cases.
Yeah, that's definitely always the danger, and I think another reason to always pray for those dudes who are on those edges
Yep.
that they wouldn't lose their saltiness or their light, or just be bashful about it in an attempt to gain that kind of acceptance. And it's tough, but another reason to pray for all those guys that are there on the front lines.
Yeah. Another question I have for you.
Mhm.
There's always been major labels kind of involved with Christian rap. You know what I mean? Like, like Cross Movement. You know, they were signed to a label for a while before they actually started Cross Movement Records. You know, KJ52. You had Up Rock Records. That was, that Josh from Sphere Hip Hop ran. That was associated with a label. But it seems like now there's been a new resurgence. You know, even like Lecrae is signed with Columbia, obviously NF and Social Club with Capitol Music, Stephen
Yeah.
Malcolm. You know what I mean? Like you kind of have, and then you have a lot of artists that have deals like The Truth and Derek Minor have had deals with E1 where they're almost like a silent partner, but they've helped, fund their past couple of albums. You have a lot of guys like that. How do you feel about that part of Christian rap? Like, do you feel like it's changed it some? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know that I have a strong opinion about it. I don't know that labels have the weight these days that they used to back in the day. For some reason, you used to, when you heard Def Jam or something, you kind of knew what that sound was like, and
Yep.
it felt like they were on a team. But just with a little more independence and
Yeah,
social
they
media
don't have the
iTunes-
brand weight. You're right. You're totally
Yeah.
right about that.
Yeah, but if they're able to help push this music in different directions and get them in different audiences, I think that's great. Like just even Social Club, I think you've seen them kind of be. They built a fan base on their own, certainly.
Yeah.
But it feels like since they signed, they've gotten a little extra push. You see them now connecting with Sway in the Morning
Yeah.
or being on different media outlets to be able to speak in that way. So if they're able to push them in those directions and help make those connections, I think it's great. Again, as long as they kind of retain their saltiness and uniqueness and don't shy away from being just another artist on that roster. You want them to go there and make a difference and look different and be different while they're in that space.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what's interesting, man. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, there's really not that many Christian rap labels left
Yeah.
in terms of the way it was like 3-4 years ago. Where
Yeah.
it was like, you could count on. I mean, obviously, Reach is still there. Like it's like you could count on them. They was dropping 3, 4, maybe 5 albums in a year. You had Collision for a while. You had Humble Beast. You had Lamp Mode. You had RMG, right?
Yeah.
And RMG's still going pretty strong. Humble Beast, they kind of release music sporadically, I guess, at this point. Collision, their roster is not really the same as it was then. So
Right.
they don't quite have the same momentum. So it's like, I almost feel like, and then, I mean, you had like smaller labels like God Chasers and some others that have just
Yeah.
kind of always been there.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's harder, man, for those labels to really go, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you hear sometimes, I mean, guys like, hey, should I sign with a label? And
Yep.
I think the big decision is, can they do something for you that you can't do on your own?
Yeah, man.
You know, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like there's a shift happening that hasn't fully shifted yet.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to figure out how to financially make this work right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah, man.
the pledge music stuff that KJ52's done and Taylor Gray's done on this next album, and B. Wright did one too.
Yep.
I just really got into that process. I like it a lot, actually, from a fan perspective. I thought KJ did some really cool things, and Taylor Gray did some cool things. Like KJ, I got on B. Rice late, but KJ was putting out some like exclusive audio and some of his past mixtapes and stuff that you only got if you pledged in advance, and then you got the album 3 or 4 weeks before he put it on iTunes.
Yeah.
And I'm still like waiting now. I know that I still have a physical package coming. Taylor Gray has been able to do something cool. Like you could help them pick which album cover artwork to use. So you do really see that creation of them making that album instead of just a Kickstarter kind of thing. So I don't know if that's the next wave or not. It may just be the hot thing, but I've enjoyed my experience with that and a new way to see how they're doing the business and raising the money to produce the music that we like.
Yeah. Well, this is what I feel like, bro. I feel like this recent wave has perfected Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like people did Kickstarters before, but it was like, man, this ain't really enough incentive for me to give. Or they didn't deliver. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still waiting on that Unashamed movie.
Yes.
You know, like I donated to that. And Art's my man, so I hope he don't take this as a diss. But he know I'm waiting because I text him every now and then, like, yo, was I with the movie, bro? But
yeah, for real.
But I feel like this, you know, because I pledged to Taylor's joint. You know what I mean? Like I love Taylor. Like I'm a huge fan of his. And I felt like all the the updates, like it almost forces you to really reward people like your hardcore fans who would like help you fund this album in a different way than Kickstarter. Because Kickstarter was like, give me $25, and if this is funded, then I give you this on the back end, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, things may or may
you definitely had to wait for that payoff.
Yeah.
But with Pledge, you seem to get it as soon as you
get it, bro.
Yeah.
Soon as you get it, man. I pledged, man. I got a free song right away. I was like, man, this is killer. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting, man. It's I think with streaming music too, you know, that's really dipped into people's record sales, man. Like, you know, I mean, if streaming was as big when Anomaly came out, does that album go gold? You know what I mean? Like, because it seems like now everybody's got a $10 subscription to something. So it's like, like it's almost like we talked about this on the team meeting with Aubrey and Michaela the other night. It was like, man, do people even still want album reviews the same way? Because like, what did you just say when you started writing the reviews? I got my last $15. Should I spend it on this album? Yeah. Well, now, I'm paying $10 a month to Spotify or Tidal or Apple or somebody. Yeah. Sometimes both. Man, I could just listen to it on release date and figure out if I want to buy it. Yeah. And unless it's amazing, I'm probably just content with streaming it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly changed. And the albums that I do, I mean, and I stream too. I use Spotify. Yep. I do still support guys that I like know personally or like I really love the album. But it's hard to argue the economics of that $10 subscription, and I get a whole buffet of anything I want to listen to whenever I want to listen to it versus purchasing those things individually. So
I mean, I still, and people don't believe this, I buy so much music. You know what I mean? Like so much music, bro. And I feel like I feel for some of these artists, man, because there used to be a time that if you could, like, this was the business model. If you could come out and sell 3,000 to 4,000 records and do 30 or 40 shows a year where people paid you legitimate money to do it, you could totally provide for your family and pay for your next album.
Yeah.
Like, easy. But
you
now,
could be a blue collar artist.
yeah, like, you know, a lot of these independent artists built their careers with that kind of business model. The Jasons, the Thizzles, the Bizzles, the like guys like that. You know, all the Collision Records guys. Like, you know, it's like you could build your career with that. And now, it's like, man, you know how hard it is to sell 3,000 records?
Yeah, it's tough. I feel for guys.
Yeah, it's really tough, man. So I'm just, you know, one of the things that I want to encourage all of you who are listening to this, man, support these artists, man. Like I mean, some kind of way. So maybe you don't buy an album, but man, if you really like an artist and what they're doing, man, buy a T-shirt.
Yeah,
buy merch.
I bought plenty of T-shirts. That's another little
oh my
series
god, bruh.
That's another little series that I had.
Where do you store all of that?
I that's what my wife asked me. She's like, "When are you going to stop buying these shirts?" So, I do have some of them in storage, actually. That, you know, I've worn once or twice and stuff. But yeah, that was another thing. I guess my mom always instilled in me is to always support, like, people that would come sing at church, whatever. She would always buy something just to do it. So now that I don't buy physical CDs that much anymore, but I still buy merchandise and T-shirts, and I just got the idea one time before I knew that there's like actually a whole book of this on the mainstream side. But I just thought it'd be cool to like just kind of showcase this and show the different like styles of art and like what people focus on and that stuff, and just see a little bit of different side of.
Bro, that's your second book, though. That's your second book.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, though, you can make it your first book because, bro, you already got a lot of it written.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, Sketch, you got to do this, man. Like you got a lot of history, man. Like have you been to Flavor Fest recently?
I went in 2010, I think, was the last one I went. So
they weren't in a new building.
They had just moved in.
So that was the Reach Records year.
I think there were some people. I think it was their 10-year anniversary one.
Yeah, I think that was the Reach year, bro.
Okay.
I think KB performed that year. That was like right before he signed.
Yeah, probably so.
I think I wasn't at that one, but I think because I went the next year.
Okay.
But this is why I'm asking you. Have you ever been in Pastor Tommy's office?
Back in the day, I went to Crewvention in 1999.
Okay.
And that's where I first met Urban D and KJ52, and Braille was like a 16-year-old kid there. So wow. I think I probably did see some of that. I went to like an early version of Crossover Church, and we saw them with a DJ on stage and breakdancing, and it kind of blew my mind that they had
a church like that, right?
Yeah, incorporated. But what were you saying? Does Tommy have a wall like with a bunch of posters and stuff?
Bruh, I did a show there with Devin Turner. Me and Devin did a show there November. And bruh, like when I tell you this wall was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Sketch, like the posters. I mean, like none of these, like he had actual posters that were like advertisements from these albums, and it signed joints, like, you know what I'm saying, like an ambassador.
I've got a small one at my house. You can see it in my profile picture on Twitter or my banner picture. Yeah. Back in the day, these Christian bookstores would have. I think they were called flats.
Yep.
And they were almost the size of actual like vinyl records.
Like vinyl, exactly.
And you could go there, and once the album had been kind of through its promotional cycle, you could pick those up. I would go to these bookstores and just pick them up, and I'd like them for my walls and stuff. So I've got some, probably not as much as Tommy, with as many people have been through his.
Well, yeah, because he's got them signed too.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, bro. You got to get down there so you can see the official wall.
Yes. Yeah.
That DJ official mural is
oh yeah. Yeah.
It'll bring a tear to your eye, man.
I'm sure.
And in his office, man. And I'm sure he'll let you. I mean, he ain't gonna let everybody. So everybody listening, don't be going up to Pastor Tommy like, yo, can I go in your office? He ain't gonna let everybody in there. But I'm sure he will let you in there, man.
Maybe Sketch the Historian. He'd let
man. Yeah. But I figure between that wall and your T-shirt collection, like, I would love to know if there's anybody else out there who has any type of Christian rap memorabilia on that level.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like my MP3 collection is amazing, but it's MP3s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a little different when it's physical.
Yeah, man.
There's a dude named Tim Burton that has a whole lot of them. He collected kind of a lot of Tunnel Rat stuff, and I want to say Don Setzer, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He'll hit me up from time to time, like, hey, do you have this thing? Can you make me a copy of that? So we've occasionally actually like traded old videotapes or CDs and things. So there's a small little community of Christian rap historians, but yeah. That'd be cool.
Man. That's insane. There should be some type of conference, bro. Like how they have baseball card conferences. Y'all need to organize a conference, man.
Right. Yeah. It may just be 5 of us, but maybe we can grow it.
Nah, but you know what you could do? And this is not even funny. Mm-hmm. Man, you should put them T-shirts on exhibit somewhere, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You drop that book, Sketch, put them T-shirts on exhibit. Look, I'm giving too much stuff out, man.
I know.
It's got to be a private conversation, but put them joints on exhibit somewhere, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's insane, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite artists right now, man? Like new artists, so not like, cause you know, I feel like we have like 4 generations maybe of artists. Cause it's like you still got a lot of the guys that started with like Lecrae and The Truth, like they're still going, but then you got like the Jay Givens, John Gibbs, Social Club, Alex Faith, like all the guys in that age range. You could even throw Trip Lee in there, I guess, even though he's been around for a really long time. But then you got like a lot of really dope new artists that are popping up, man. You know, who are you feeling out of some of these new guys, man?
Yeah. I don't know if Corey Paul, if you consider him new. I know he's put out a couple albums, but he's still one of the younger guys.
Yep.
And it was funny when and we tell this story each other, but he was an early advertiser on Wado Radio.
Yeah, man.
And I met him at Trey Nine's wedding.
Wow.
And he was like, hey, what do you think about the album? And his ad on the Wado Radio show was like, whatever the release date was, the world as you know it is going to change. And I remember telling him, I was like, I listened to it. I don't know if my world changed, but I thought it was a little bit of a braggadocious for a brand new artist to come in and say they were going to change the game. But that's just some of the zeal sometimes of these young dudes too, and especially new converts.
I've always felt like he was. I feel like he just needs the right shot, man.
Yeah,
like he's such a great dude, bro. Like I hung out with him one day. This is gonna sound like I'm at Flavor Fest every year. I've only been to Flavor Fest. I've only been to Crossover like 3 times, but he happened to be there, and we hung out at the mall one day, just super random. And he was about to get married, and I was just like, man, this dude just gets it. You know what I mean? Like he just gets it. Like he's very intentional about his wife, his life, you know what I mean? And he was he was asking me all these questions about my marriage and stuff because he wanted to see what I did right and wrong to make sure that he, was on the right path, man. I was really impressed by it,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, so I didn't like his music at first, and I think his second album, he really kind of caught me, and I think he's done a lot better. But he was, I guess, kind of a newer school guy.
Yep.
I don't know if Christian Gray, if you'd call him, but I just really like his art. I was listening to some stuff today, and just he's so good at the singing aspect, and Duke can rap.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he puts a lot of just passion into his stuff. So I know it sounds like I'm picking 2 dudes off of We Live As
I feel like he's got a little chip on his shoulder right now, though.
He does, yeah. That I was going to ask you about his latest video, maybe off the interview, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's amazing, man. So those are your 2 guys right now.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think of some of the newer dudes. Jay Givens obviously is really fantastic too.
Yep.
He's almost too heady for me sometimes. I'll be honest. Like I need to go back and listen to his stuff, but I think he does a good job too. So,
Yeah, I you know what, man? I feel like people don't always get all the stuff in Jay Givens stuff, man. It's like every time you listen to it, you pick up something new. Like, man, how's this guy's brain work like this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's real crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that I felt like has been interesting is I would probably say for the majority of time we've been doing this show, the South has been the dominant, like, cultural influence and music style in the Christian rap scene. Do you see that stopping anytime soon?
I don't know. Do you see it on the mainstream side? It seems like Atlanta's still
Atlanta's crazy,
driving the whole truck, man. So
yeah, Atlanta's crazy.
And I know that some people complain too that there's not as much of a regional style as there used to be. It just kind of sounds the same, and it sounds like so much Southern kind of stuff. So it still seems super strong for sure.
Yeah, I think part of why Atlanta is doing it, man, is it's just such a hub of African American culture right now.
Yeah, yeah,
and on the mainstream side, I think it's changing on the Christian rap side a little bit, but I think on the mainstream side, like, African American hood culture is still the dominant, like, kind of thing in hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as big as an artist as Drake is, the movement is still Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you even saw that bleed over the Super Bowl. Like, when the Falcons were there, it was like hip hop's team. You know, not just Atlanta. That was the hip hop team. And I know on the radio station here in Houston, like, they tried to play like some Boston artists, and you've got like three dudes. And you've got like, and if you want to make an Atlanta playlist, and you could go for like days, bro.
Oh yeah, I mean, Boston. I was gonna say, like, honestly, like, Boston, unless you really like in the like really like underground backpack stuff, like, they haven't. I mean, yeah, like you like Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs or something like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, Benzino.
Yeah, Benzino.
I think Charlemagne the God said the best thing out of New England was the New Edition. He made some joke about
that's it. That's pretty much it, though. They were from Boston, but that's man. That's crazy, but it's weird because I feel like in the Christian rap scene, like, I don't really think urban culture dominates it.
Yeah,
like, I really feel like it's suburban culture because, like, the place to go and the place to get heard and the place to make money is doing stuff in the suburbs, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just a different, it's a different vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man. So it's interesting, man. We gotta revisit this, man. We gotta revisit this. It's funny. We were me and my wife was watching TV the other day, and they were retiring Yao Ming's jersey, right? And Shane Battier was at the game, right? Yeah. And his so I'm gonna tell you, this is what's crazy, bro. My wife was like, I can't think of that guy's name, right? She's talking about Shane Battier. She said, I can't think of that guy's name. And I said, that's Shane Battier. She said her first thought was not Duke Blue Devils, not NBA, role model, champion, whatever. That's the guy Sketch made the song about. Oh my God, I was dying, bro. I was dying, man. And I was so glad that you lost that bet and not me, and you had to do that rap, bro.
I know. Yes. That is one of my, I guess, low lights of the Wade Over Radio shows. People had to hear me rap because we lost a bet. It was your Lakers beat my Houston Rockets.
That's when the Rockets still had Ron Artest.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was the time when the dang Air Jordan on 'em mix was just nuts. That was a fun period of time in Christian hip hop too. And we decided to make a bet that we had to do a remix on that, and I lost. And so I went with our better defender on Shane Battier. So
Man, so I recently realized something the other day, Sketch.
Mhm.
That the reason why there was all those remixes of Air Jordan.
yeah.
I was sending that instrumental to people.
Oh yeah.
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 The Frontliners did the first one, and I was DJing for them at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
And they did it and because it's still hard to get instrumentals from artists, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's if Josh from Sphere of Hip Hop is doing your publicity, he sends instrumentals. But everybody else, it's like cutting teeth.
Yeah.
And
it's so stupid to me that's such an easy way to gain yourself exposure and to service DJs like yourself who can do remixes and give it more exposure. So artists, if you're listening, send DJs your instrumentals.
Yeah, and it's because it's not even just about me personally. It's about this DJ culture, man.
Yeah.
So I remember like they did a freestyle on it, and it was cool. And then I definitely sent it to Show.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to host that mixtape that he put out.
Oh yeah, the Why So Serious.
Yeah, I sent him all the instrumentals for that.
Okay.
But he gave me the music like the night before, and he was like, "Yo, I need it tomorrow." And I was just like, "Bro, I can't. I can't turn around that quick."
Mm-hmm.
And there was somebody else I sent it to, bro.
Yeah. But your show played a big part in helping that thing explode.
Listen, man, whenever I start doing like throwback music and some of the mixes from like that period and earlier, somebody always tweets me, emails me, "Yo, man, next time you do a throwback mix, you got to do the Air Jordan joint."
Yeah.
Because people that's been rocking with us that long, just that was a big part of the show in that time period.
Yeah. 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 And I even had to contribute to it. So
yeah, you killed it. You killed it. You killed it. Yeah. I think after you did the remix, man, I think that was it for remixes, bro.
Yeah. People said we can't compete.
Yo, had you ever really recorded any raps before that?
No, I messed around once or twice and just realized I did not have it, and decided I'm just going to write reviews and try to get in that way.
Well, yeah, I knew that part, but I didn't know if you would ever actually record it.
No, some guys do, and like Slave, he used to rap back in the day, and some of my other writer friends. I mean, Excelsius, he was a rapper, but he would write for us and that sort of thing. But
Excelsius was nice, though.
Yeah. So there's been several guys that have written articles that do have that talent, and I just realized I did not early on. So
yeah, because X sends me text messages all the time about the show, bro.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
he's still involved, man. Even though he's like a super pastor.
Yeah, he's got like his own church now, or he's a senior pastor at one of the campuses. We talked not too long ago. He hit me up. So
yeah, great dude, man. He's a great guy, bro.
Yeah,
he's a great guy, man. Is there anything we didn't hit, man? Is there anything I want to make sure this is thorough, man? We really do you justice, brother.
I'm trying to think. I guess one of my other fond memories is South by Southwest in 2012. I got to help with Trey 9 and Scott Free, and you were a part of it too. But we did like a skills competition there, and that was one of my just best memories of like Christian hip hop and getting people together. And instead of it just being a mega concert, we had a DJ skills competition.
Yeah, I remember that, bro. Yeah,
we had the freestyle competition of giving guys like topics and pictures to go off top of the head. And I was looking back at that today, and there was a photo of like you and DJ Primo and DJ Promote and DJ Val and all the dudes that we had in like that competition. That was just a really fond memory of mine from the scene. To pull guys together and do something a little different and really showcase the skills side of it instead of, like I said, just a mega concert. So,
yeah, you know, man, Primo, man, he was such a blessing to Christian rap, man. Like that's a dude that I mean, I really feel like, to be truthful, bro, if he were still alive today, he would really be a big deal, because he had so much talent and he loved the music, and he was you know, and we were all doing this, but it's like DJ culture is like really a thing now, whereas at that point we weren't as accepted, man. Like we still, and I mean, I don't really get shows like this now, but for a long time, man, most of the shows I did were in places where it was just like the kids had never heard Christian rap before. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, you know, now that's not really the case, but I feel like a guy like him, especially being in Texas, where it's so much bigger, man, I really, like, I think somebody would have put him on the road with them, you know, because he was so creative, bro. Even apart from just his chopped and screwed, like, he was a great DJ, man. Yeah,
he was doing like video remixes and video blends and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he
was on that early. He was on that Video Serato early, man.
Yes, yeah. Lecrae actually shouted him out last week when he was doing his Super Bowl set in downtown Houston. He said, "Hey, you know, God bless DJ Primo. He chopped and screwed our first compilation album." Yeah, and I appreciated that. I didn't know that he remembered that, but probably the passing of Official has made him think about that stuff. And I guess that's another aspect. Unfortunately, I've had to write a couple of obituaries for guys within the scene of Primo or Slave or Enoch. Yeah, and Official most recently, I wrote a kind of a summary piece of his life for Christianity Today, and we posted stuff on Whatever Radio. And unfortunately, we've lost some guys much earlier than we should have in this scene. So, yeah,
I didn't really know Enoch and Slave like that, but definitely DJ Lace too.
Yeah,
Lace, Official, huge. I mean, he was. I can't even. Like, I'm not going to say I wouldn't be doing Christian rap if it wasn't for him. I'm not going to go that far, but I mean, he really inspired me on a level that in this scene nobody's really inspired me, because he's really inspired me to do this.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And he's somebody like I would trade messages with, never really got to interview, and I really would have loved to, just that history. I mean, he was part of two of the biggest groups in the scene, with Cross Movement and then Reach Records, and really bridge that gap, which was really a cool thing.
Yeah, so I got an interview with him, one interview.
Yeah,
but it was when he was dropping his album, and so he talks about that transition from Cross Movement to Reach. I was actually gonna put it out on his birthday, and I said, man, you know, it's a lot of stuff. I said, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it probably, you know, this year coming up, 1 year anniversary of his passing. I'll probably put it out. You know,
that'd be good.
Yeah, just republish it. I mean, it's out. I mean, look, all my interviews is out on the podcast, but I'll probably republish it. Yeah, you know, I'll republish it, man. But yeah, man, there's been some great people that I've had a chance to meet and be around, and you've been a big part of that, because you've certainly connected me with a lot of guys too, you know. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you too. Your connections have helped me, so I think we've definitely both benefited. So
yeah, man. Well, Sketch, man, I can't tell you thank you enough, bro. Like, you know, you've definitely, even as a and I never really consider myself a journalist, but you've definitely pushed me in a lot of ways. There's been interviews, like there's been some big interviews that I've done, and most of the time, I don't know if you guys have figured this out, I freestyle most of my interviews. Like I know some questions I'm going to ask going in, but for the most part, I just try to have a conversation with the person. But there's been some interviews where I'm like, man, you know, this is a pretty big one, and I hit Sketch, and I'm like, Sketch, man, what should I ask this person?
Yeah.
And there's been times I've asked them like an hour before I'm about to do the interview, man. Sketch come back with 30 questions. Like, yeah, ask him this. I'm like, dang, he got the follow-ups for me and everything in here, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm grateful for that, man. You know, thank you. I certainly appreciate that, man. And
Sure.
you know, we're gonna be looking for these books, bro. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Again, thanks for all the listeners and people that hit me up and follow me on social media and been a part of this. So continue to follow. Please definitely continue to pray for me and my family as we kind of just work some things out and transition. And I'll always be a Wado Radio listener and will participate as much as I can moving forward. So
Absolutely, man. Thank you again, Sketch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
On the Wado Radio Show. On the Wado Radio. On the Wado Radio Show. Where it's much more than music, it's ministry.